Hey guys, so today I'm here with an overview of the HTC Status. This is a bit of a different phone from what we've been taking a look at lately. Of course, with all the dual cores and the 3D and the enormous displays, it's kind of refreshing to take a look at something that's a little bit more humble. Of course, it does have a full physical keyboard, and of course, it's not going to break the bank. So I've had this only for a few days, so I can't really give you guys my full review just yet. But what I will do is give you my first impressions, some of the things I've noticed in the couple of days of using it. So number one is going to be the display. Now the display is going to be a 2.6-inch display, not really all that large of a display. In fact, if I set it next to something like an iPod Touch, which of course is the same size as an iPhone, you'll definitely kind of get a good idea of how really small it is. On the other hand, though, it does have a good pixel density of 480 by 320, so pretty nice resolution. Text and everything is really quite crisp and clear. Another thing I like, if I pull in another phone here, as we'll be able to see next to a Palm Pixel, you guys can see that it is actually a landscape orientation as opposed to portrait. Now these are both 2.6-inch displays. However, with the Pixie, I'm always like holding it sideways, and it doesn't really work too well with the keyboard. So with a phone like this, I think it works really quite nicely. You really never need to put it into a different orientation. It just works. Now as far as the design goes, not really liking it a ton, to be honest. Now, I mean, there are definitely some good things. I like the fact that it does have a front-facing camera. Click on the screen there. Having a front-facing camera on a phone this cheap is fantastic. Of course, considering that it's a Facebook phone, it's going to be nice to be able to video chat and all that kind of stuff with your friends. A lot of the build quality is really top-notch. In fact, if I lock it here, you guys will be able to see. It's made out of mostly plastic. In fact, I believe it might be all plastic. Not 100% sure. I'm notoriously bad at deciding what's plastic and what's metal, but overall the build quality is really sturdy. I mean, there's not a whole lot of creaks and groans and whatnot. I mean, you really apply some pressure to it, you might hear a little bit of a crack here and there, but totally within my tolerances of what a phone should be able to handle. Now, some of the other things I like about the phone is the keyboard. It's not a great looking keyboard. It kind of looks a little bit generic, but it does definitely work. There's a pretty nice little bit of raised on there. They're nicely spaced out, and overall, I mean, I like the keyboard quite a bit. Also, something that's kind of interesting is having these directional buttons. It's not really something that you see very often on phones these days, but it's actually kind of nice to be able to make selections, or when you're on a web page, instead of bringing your thumb up and scrolling and coming back and all that kind of stuff, you can just go ahead and just tab through. So that's actually kind of nice. Now, what I don't like is the send and end keys. Now, I didn't think I would like them when I saw it in the unboxing, and I definitely have decided that I don't. I mean, it's not like they really get in the way, and I mean, sometimes it can kind of be nice if you're in the middle of a call, But I think really they would have been better served if they would have just gotten rid of this and dragged the screen down and maybe made it a little bit of a larger display. Now, they may have some technical reason for doing that, or I don't know, maybe people really wanted the send and end keys, but in my opinion, not really necessary. Now, of course, one of the biggest things about this phone has to be the Facebook button. In fact, I'll show you guys how that works. It's nothing particularly amazing. So let's say I'm here and I want to hit that button. Well, it'll immediately launch me into the Facebook application so I can post to my wall, whatever, so I can go say, I'm filming a YouTube video. So, you guys can see I'm not really totally used to the keyboard just yet. It's pretty decent, but again, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but it's not bad at all, actually. But the Facebook button, I think I accidentally just hit it again. The Facebook button is kind of nice. If you're always on Facebook and everything, that's definitely going to be a pretty nice addition, but in general, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's not that much different from just tapping on the Facebook and just going into it from there. So, I mean, kind of nice, but certainly not any major reason why you should buy the phone. It's just kind of a nice addition. Now, getting around to the back of the phone, coming back again, you guys will find a 5-megapixel autofocus sensor with full LED flash. Now, actually, I was rather impressed with this. For a cheap phone, typically that's one of the major things that they do is they get you a cheap sensor, a cheap camera. But I really found that this is not the case. In fact, I found that the picture quality, and I'll show you guys some of that more in the review and get a little bit more in depth, but it's very similar to the HTC Inspire that I recently reviewed. So pretty solid pictures. Only 480p video, and the video is not fantastic, but overall, for the price point, I have really no major complaints. Same goes for the performance. In fact, I'll open this up and give you guys kind of a quick little thing here. You can swipe between your home screens and whatnot very simply. It does have enough power, since it does have an 800 megahertz processor. It has enough power to play games like Angry Birds and whatnot. And because of the screen resolution, even though it's a really small display and it's kind of a small phone, well, it's actually not that small of a phone, but as far as the screen, that definitely is small. A lot of times with these kind of Android phones, it's going to have some weird screen resolution where some apps won't work. That's definitely not the case. Very common screen resolution, and pretty much, now I don't want to say every single app, but I would say the majority of applications on the Android market do support this. So anyway guys, that's about it for my overview. Of course, I will be getting into a lot more in depth, such as battery life, and you name it, I'll probably be getting into it in the review, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'll be posting that in the next few days.